Hi, Anne. So this is Caitlin Pasha. I've been a little sick recently, so if I sound kind of bad, that's why. Anyways, I'm here to talk to you about my self-course evaluation. So first off, I want to start off by saying coming into this class, I was not super open-minded. I, sorry, there was somebody outside doing something. Anyways, I really didn't like math. I was in fifth grade. I took some tests that I placed high on, and I was deemed in advanced math. And this was honestly kind of detrimental to my math learning because I came to find out that I was not as advanced as I thought I was. I always did fine. I strived to get good grades in high school and middle school, but I never really understood math. I slid by passing a test, memorizing and passing a test. Um, and that was like my personal relationship with math. So when it came to teaching math, obviously I'm a little skeptical. But this class gave me a lot of hope. So I personally want to teach lower elementary, and I know that it's important to know all different sorts of grade levels and concepts, not just lower elementary, especially when it comes to math, where students will grow off of that throughout their academic career. So first I want to talk about my learning specific to the course and how it's evolved over the course. So I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to show you there. So first I want to start off by showing this because this is honestly super pathetic and I can't believe that I turned this in. So I have this, and this is my first lesson, and I'm sure you've already read them as we turn them in, last Thursday. Really pathetic. No standard, um, random objective. I like this. I think I would still use that in kindergarten. I don't like how I put simple. I said simple like multiple times. Simple is not simple for every student. I don't like how I used I do, we do, you do. That's just not the best way for students to learn math. And we talked a lot about that. But going into this course, I thought that that was my best bet. I really thought I was doing something with this one. Independent practice. And I still think that I would use something like this. And I think I didn't say this in here, but I said this on my when I hand wrote out corrections to myself, but like I would probably bring in like mini marshmallows and do this with my students. I think that it would be good for them to count on a number line, and this could be a really fun activity. But definitely if it was not written like this. So then I wanted to compare this to another one of my lesson plans. So this is my first, I did this my first, I was on online practicum, and this was my first set of second graders that I worked with. And so this is base 10. But I loved the three-part lesson plan. I love that template. I've had to use a lot of different templates for a lot of different classes, and the three-part lesson plan, my favorite. I really enjoyed using it. I thought it was gave enough information but wasn't too overbearing, and I definitely see myself using this lesson template again in the future, when I have the opportunity to. So I really appreciate this template. Um, here we have a lesson title, grade, a time estimate. I don't know why I didn't think that was important in my last one. Like requisite knowledge, key terms, like materials, references. I don't know why I didn't think I needed those in the last one. A standard. I have obviously used standards in the past in other courses. When writing lesson plans, I don't know why in August I didn't think that this was important. I think it was okay for like August, but I don't really like, obviously it was not my best work. Standards for mathematical practices. Okay, and another thing I really saw helpful in this course was when he made us go through and like look at the standards. I think that we had to, for an assignment, match a standard with different math practices. Yes, we did. And I found that that was super helpful to learn how to navigate the website, and also like I had never heard of like Iowa standards for mathematical practices before. I'd heard of standards, but I'd never heard of this. So I thought it was super helpful to like get to know the website in that sense. And I've seen myself grow a lot when it comes to familiarity with like math standards for sure. Learning goals, those are really important. I just find that this lesson is so far advanced above where I was at in my last one. Um, and I'm really proud of how far I've come in that aspect. I hold on, I don't know how to stop sharing my screen. Um, oh, stop share. Okay. So then I wanted to talk about some of the worksheets that we did in class and how those could relate to my learning. So when we did this, creating problems for specific learners, I initially knew that students like all learns differently, but I didn't really know how and why that was important in the math classroom because when I was in school, it was just here's the math problems, everybody solve it. Like as long as you just have to get the right answer. But like the teacher never cared about how I learned math. But I found that this was super helpful because we got to like plug the numbers in and see like just why the teacher chose them. You've seen this worksheet. I mean, you chose it, but um just super helpful as a starting math teacher. As a starting math educator, I never knew that there was any rhyme or reason as to why teachers chose certain numbers. I never knew that why that was important, and I just think this course really opened my eyes, and I've seen myself grow a lot when it comes to um taking that into consideration when creating things like worksheets and lesson plans. And also I loved my online math practicum where I got to work with the students one-on-one. It was excellent. Like I just had never been in that setting before to teach math, and I just thought it was super helpful to teach students one-on-one and get to know their needs. But I definitely saw myself trying to make my teaching specific to their learning styles. So first I'm going to talk about, I don't know, I have a lot to talk about, but anyways, in class we did some assignments, not in class, but like for class. And I've always had a, I'm just going to be real. I've always had a really hard time doing math because I've never understood it. Like I said previously, I had teachers that just, as if the right answer was there, they didn't care how I got it, if I cheated, if I didn't, if I, and so that's kind of how I got through high school math. I took every math that was possibly offered at my class. I took calculus, statistics, all of it. And I still am not confident in my math understanding. Um, so when it came to Molly Fishbowl and we had to do part one, part two. So I did completed part one and I was fairly confident in what I knew I was doing. Molly Fishbowl part two, I didn't get it. I didn't understand what I was like. I knew that I was supposed to come up with what would work next, I think. I didn't know. I looked at standards and I didn't get it. And so I gave up. And that's obviously the not right way to go about it as an educator. And I understand that. But I completed most of the homework. It's just that like when I personally was seeing like 0 out of 0, it just wasn't motivating to me. And so I was like, well, why am I doing this? So I didn't do Molly Fishbowl part two because I just didn't know what should be done next. I wasn't confident in my own math teaching, so I didn't think that I should be dictating what comes next, so I didn't do it. And that is awful, but that's my truth in that. I also wanted to talk to you about hold on. Dorothy part two. I completed Dorothy part one. there was no Molly Fishbowl part one. This was Molly Fishbowl part one. Sorry, I was confused. There was Dorothy part one and Dorothy part two. So for Dorothy part one, I can show you what I have right here. Hold on. So for Dorothy part one, I was able to complete the problems of as if I was Dorothy. I was able to go through, describe, why she gave the problems and what Dorothy's thinking. When it came to Dorothy part two, I didn't know. I thought, I mean, I know that this was not the right way to do it, and I should have thought harder, done the work. But I just have never been in a position where I knew right from wrong in math, even though now I know that there is no right and wrong for math. But going into this early in the semester, I definitely still thought this way. That I wasn't a good enough educator to know what should come next. So I saw the 0 out of 0, the incomplete, the complete, and I didn't do it. Other than that, I completed all the rest of the assignments. I showed up every day in class. I was absent once because I was sick, but I did attend on Zoom, and I was in class every day. Hold on, I'm just trying to be real with you. And then I wanted to also look at this when we talked about the goals for each student and student understanding and sharing student work. I love this. I love to see how there were different ways to solve the same thing for students and how we talked it out, which students we thought would go first and why, and which students meant the same thing, like this and this, or which didn't. And I love looking at this because as a teacher, all I will do is dissect student work. And going into math teaching, I did not believe that to be true. I thought you just taught the stuff and some students got it and some students didn't. But now I know that we have to dissect student work to properly understand what they know and what they don't know. I also thought that this worksheet was super duper helpful because I didn't know the difference between I guess it's not on here, but it was the same time where we talked about I don't know what it's called, but where we talked about high demand tasks and low demand tasks and how to use that in our classroom and what we should actually be looking for when we're creating a lesson plan. And I thought that this was super helpful because when I was writing my lesson plans, I didn't know what I should be doing. I thought that they were okay, but I should do in the first one, that was a very low demand task. It didn't expect a lot from my students. It was like teddy bears on chairs. And that's not the kind of educator that I want to be. What do I know as a future teacher that I didn't know before? I know what kind of teacher I don't want to be. I don't want to be teddy bears on chairs. I now know that different teachers teach math differently. And I've known that all along throughout my school career. So I don't know why I never connected that different students learn math differently and that we as teachers obviously need to be aware of that. I didn't really know how to navigate Iowa Common Core, and I know how to do that. I didn't really know how a lesson plan should be set up, especially not for math. I'd written lesson plans for reading and science, but never math. So I definitely thought that was super helpful. What teaching practices do I need to work on? Like I said earlier, I found it difficult to dissect student work. And because I found it difficult to dissect student work, sometimes I couldn't figure out what the student was doing wrong. And as a teacher, this is going to be something that I am going to get better at with time. So I need to stay positive about it. But this is definitely a concept that I need to keep working on because oftentimes I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Teaching math. So yes, my perception of teaching math has changed a lot throughout the semester. I think that I've grown a lot in teaching math, and I hope that I continue to grow. Um, my definition has changed because there's not a straight path, and not everything should be done. I do, we do, you do. Students need that productive struggle, and we talked about that a lot, and I have really changed in my perspective when it comes to that. Um, and then yeah, I provided you some work previously throughout the semester. And this is kind of awkward, but but the grade that I think I should deserve, I think that I did try really hard in this class. I think that it definitely pushed me as an educator, and that I have never been pushed this way when it comes to math. I've always been able to slide by not actually learning anything. Um, and so I say, based off of my work in class and based off of my attendance, I believe that I probably deserve a B, B plus. I don't think I deserve an A. I don't think that I'm good enough to deserve an A in this class. I just don't. I think that I tried my best when it came to in-class work, and it just stuff like Molly Fishbowl and Dorothy where I didn't know what to do, so I gave up, and I don't think that deserves an A. And then I definitely have a lot of areas of growth where I need to keep going in my math educating. Um, I know that I'm on my path to becoming a teacher, and there are still a lot of things that I need to know. Um, this was super helpful this semester. I think that I learned more about math and more about myself in learning and teaching math throughout the semester than I have throughout my whole life as a student. So thank you for everything. Thank you for being there, practicum. And I know you weren't my practicum teacher, but practicum and methods, really a lot of insightful, helpful things that I learned this semester. And I'm very grateful for that. So thank you for everything. Yeah. I hope you have a great winter break.